What's up, guys? This is Kephas. Okay, we have finally made our way to Dark Shore. I've been meaning to come here a while ago, ever since we left Westfall. And yeah, so we are finally here. I'm actually kind of excited because this is a place that I haven't really quested in too much at all, ever, in my history of playing the game. Whoops, I thought I got a soul shard, but I guess I didn't. Let me see something real quick. Drain soul. Yeah, I thought I was draining the soul, but okay. Anyway, we'll try it again. But yeah, so I really never really quest very often in Dark Shore because I never really play elves. And even when I did, I would usually go over to the Eastern Kingdoms and quest in the human area, like most people, because the death run is obviously very well known. Crap. Okay. I will get this eventually. I swear I will. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting because I actually get to come here and do this now, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. I have done a little bit of questing here with other characters just because I was curious, and I do remember some of it. Just very briefly though, so I am very excited to finally get to do this. Now the thing, of course, though, is that I'm level 20. This is a level 10 to 20 zone. Now I might be a little bit too strong for a lot of this stuff, so I hope that I'm not wasting too much time trying to do quests here. There, I think I finally got one. Did I not? Did it not work? Let me see. No, what am I doing wrong? I'm trying to get, maybe they have to be at a certain level to get souls. I don't know, but either way, we'll all eventually get souls. But as you can see, these enemies that I'm fighting are like level 11 and level 12. They're a little bit weaker, and they might be too weak for me to actually get any XP from. I have a number of quests. Most of them are green. Now, I normally don't mind that. I like being in lower level zones, so I'm hoping that this is, like I said, isn't an entire waste of time. Coming here, I might be too strong. I think there might be some parts of it, though, that won't be too awful. So if I could just get a soul shard, but like I said, I'm thinking now that I might be these might be too weak for me to get soul shards from, and maybe you have to fight things that are things that will give you experience and honor, which would make a lot of sense. So we're just gonna keep going over this way. You know what I need to do is get my, oh wow, look at that. See, turn on find resources and they just pop up all over the place. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously it's not too big a deal. I can always fight things and, you know, just get items and maybe complete the quests. Like I said, I feel like there might be some quests that will be better. Like this is level 17 quest. I feel like if I go up there and do that, those enemies will be like closer to my level and I'll get some XP from them. And obviously if you're fighting things that are weaker than you, then it'll be a lot easier, being classic after all. And you know, if you fight things that are at your level, then it could be quite difficult. So, and the other big thing is that no one's ever here. No one ever quests here. There's like maybe one or two people here. Everybody goes to Elwyn Forest and makes their way through Westfall, and probably even have a lot of people in the Dwarven areas, but nobody hardly ever quests in this place. And I don't know if it's because maybe it's not good to quest here, but I feel like what little I've done so far, it's actually not that bad, and it's kind of fun, and it's a different setting. And yeah, so I'm kind of excited. I have quested in obviously the retail version of Dark Shore, because, you know, Cataclysm has been around, like post-Cataclysm I feel like has been around longer than pre-Cataclysm, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But what I feel like is, and it's kind of one of those things that makes me realize this, I didn't like that version of Dark Shore because most of it felt like it was just in ruins or chaotic, and there was like crazy whirlpools going on and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of, another one of those things about this game, that one of the things that Classic makes me realize is I like Classic zones. In general, I like the zones better. Now, I'm not saying that the questing experience is entirely better. Like, obviously, they've made a lot of good changes to questing in terms of how they tell the story. I'm not going to bother going down there into that cave. I'm just going to say forget that and move on. But, you know, and graphically, a lot of improvements have been made to a lot of the mobs, a lot of the, you know, the hunter pets, that just different things in the setting. But I feel like the way the world looks in Classic is an improvement over the way the world looks in retail. Maybe not in terms of the quality, pixel quality, the way the graphics look, but in terms of the setting. Because everything in Cataclysm, because of course it was a Cataclysm, hey, Drain Soul. is like in ruins and destroyed and all that kind of stuff. And now we get, okay, so yeah, you have to suck a soul from something that is at least green. Makes a lot of sense. Since everything is like destroyed, it just doesn't look as good, and it makes me realize, like, I've been questing in vanilla, or I mean, in Cataclysm vanilla, like when I level up from 1 to 60, in a world that's like destroyed. It's been wrought by Deathwing, and it's a cataclysm, and everything looks ruined and looks awful because of they were changing the world, and it's honestly over time, it's not the best setting, because like in this setting, like everything is normal looking. It's like you're in a world where you have all these villages and you have all these different cultures. You've got the human settlements, you've got the dwarven settlements, you've got elven settlements, and a lot of those settlements do still exist in retail post Cataclysm, but a lot of them have been just completely wiped out and destroyed because of Deathwing. And, again, like I'm saying, over time, that setting just kind of gets boring and old, and it's like, ugh, like everything just looks bad, So it's just one of those things, when you have like, even like the Barrens, I prefer classic Barrens. I know that might sound crazy. I know a lot of people don't like the Barrens because it takes so long, but I do. And I kind of feel that way about a lot of zones. Like, because, in the Barrens, you've got this giant, destroyed part of the world that's just like, oh man, this looks bad. Like, and there's a lot of places like that, so it's one of those, I just kind of feel like, when they changed it was a good idea at the time, but over time it just makes the world look kind of crazy and destroyed, and just craters everywhere, molten lava and destruction all over the place. I don't know how I feel about that, but when I look at classic, I'm like, yeah, this is more what I like to see in my zones. It looks like an actual world, and it's interesting. And I kind of feel that way about like a lot of the newer zones in retail. Like, I really enjoy. Oh, am I out of mana? I sure am. I really enjoy like a lot of the newer zones, especially because they look like natural environments in a way, like the deserts and whatnot. I think it looks kind of cool. So it's another just example of like what I prefer about classic. Personally, I kind of feel like I prefer the world design, and I might not be. Oh, what was that doing? Is that trying to do something? Did I? Oh, I don't. Oh crap! I think I wasted an item. Oh well. You're supposed to capture a thistle bear with that item, and I didn't mean to use it, and I did, and now it's gone. So, oh well, it's fine. Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know if you which world do you prefer more if you play both retail and classic. I'm not talking about in terms of the leveling experience. I'm talking about like the aesthetic of the world. Not even like the quality, the pixel quality of the world, but just in terms of, do you prefer a world that has all these ruins that have been destroyed by Deathwing, or do you prefer the world of classic where there are more like I guess a more whole world that hasn't been destroyed? Obviously, there are some zones that have been destroyed. I feel like it wasn't like all of like Searing Gorge and those areas, weren't they used to be like green fields, but whatever happened with the Blackrock clan, didn't that like destroy that area? And wasn't like Blasted Lands, didn't that used to be like a marsh of some kind? So of course, obviously there are some zones that were destroyed when Vanilla WoW was released, but even then, like, those were, you had lots of green areas, lots of villages, lots of different environments, and I get why they changed it. I mean, the game had been out for, I don't know, what was it, like, it's 2004. Cataclysm, almost 8 years, 9 years, almost 10 years, I don't know, something like that. And they like, we gotta change it, we gotta make it more interesting and all that kind of stuff. And so they did something cool. They had the Deathwing thing, and then the Cataclysm happened, and that changed a lot of the zones up. But like, I can tell you right now, I 100% prefer Thousand Needles the way it is in vanilla over the way it is in Cataclysm. For sure. I hate the way Thousand Needles is now. It's just a big underwater zone that's not fun to navigate, in my opinion. I don't like going underwater. I really prefer, going up to on top of all the needles, and then going down to the Shimmering Flats and doing those quests there. I've done it too. I've done it on my Horde Hunter. It was like one of the first things I wanted to do was go to Thousand Needles, and I was really excited about it. So like, I really do prefer the aesthetic of the old world zones more pre-Cataclysm than post-Cataclysm. And like I said, I'm not saying that I prefer the questing experience in all those zones. I feel like, at the same time, so like I did that lore series a little bit, where I was talking about these, the different zones and the stories in each zone, and a lot of them are told pretty well now. They tell more like a more cohesive story, right? But unfortunately, like some of them kind of come at the cost of, I guess, the freedom of doing whatever quests you want, that kind of thing. I think when you start talking about the questing experience, it gets a little bit more muddy. I think that there are some pros and cons to both, because I do think that playing classic and how questing is, it's a little it's not perfect by any means. Hey, having to go like from one zone to another and then coming back to a different zone, getting a bunch of quests that are really hard to do if you don't have friends, or you have to find a group to do some of them. I don't mind the difficulty by any means, but I would say that sometimes the flow of the quest kind of feels a little rough at times. I did Loch Modan, and I was there for a few episodes, and I got some levels there, and it was fun. But I would say that it felt like there was relatively few quests to do. All things considered, maybe I missed some. I don't know, but I was ready to move on anyways. But I feel like Westfall has quite a few. But I do feel like there are fewer quests. At the same time, though, I feel like Classic is more grindy. That the main bulk of your experience is coming through killing mobs. Whether you're doing it in a dungeon or you're just killing things out in the world, it's very grindy. So quests kind of augment that grind a little bit. So they're not really meant to be like they are now in retail, where you have a considerably more quests to do. Like it'll even tell you in the story thing in your mini map, or your map, I should say. You've done 6 out of 7 of the main scenario quest areas. Or whatever it is that they call them, the story quests. You've done a large number of those quest lines already. So there are a lot more quest lines. They're more linear, but there are a lot more of them to do, and they do tell a more, I guess, cohesive storyline, which is nice. I think that is good, and it is interesting. But, at the same time, some of those storylines, they're funny, and they're like the Westfall one, it's pretty funny. But at the same time, because we can't do that quest. It kind of copies or plays to the CSI crime scene kind of thing. You're like a detective figuring out a murder mystery, kind of cool. But at the same time, it's also kind of like, this is it's more of a parody than a story, which I know Blizzard has always WoW has always had, nods to real world, other stories or other things that other, I guess other stories. That happens all the time. Pop culture references have been around for sure, but the whole Westfall storyline, while it is interesting and while it does tell a story and introduces a character and continues a story from the previous version, like the classic version, it is also kind of hard to take it that seriously because of how much it parodies CSI. Or just a noir style, I guess, murder mystery, which that would be fine, but it's just very, it feels like a parody, I guess, and I can say it over and over again. It really does, and so it is hard to take it seriously. So, sometimes I do prefer just having bits and pieces here and there, and you kind of figure out the story. I guess maybe it is better if you're gonna if you're gonna make jokes and have such a parody about it, maybe the old way is still better. I don't know. People are gonna have different opinions about that, and I know it's I'm kind of having a hard time getting my thoughts out there. But I have mixed feelings about when I think about the questing experience. I think there are some strengths to retail, and there are some weaknesses to it, and the same can be said for classic. But overall, I do kind of feel I'm still at a point where I'm not playing a lot of WoW right now, to be honest. I mostly play it here. I'm slowly working up characters. I kind of log into Classic every now and then to level up characters. Retail has had this double XP thing going on, and I've done a little bit, but I don't have a lot of interest in it personally. Yeah, I tend to prefer playing Classic more. It's more fun to me. At the same time, though, I feel like I have to be in the right frame of mind to play it. I don't just log in all the time and do it, because I have a lot of other gaming interests in general. I have a lot of other cool things happening in my life in general. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy classic. It's just that it's more of a time thing and a frame of mind. Classic takes a lot more, I guess. It takes a lot more time, and so it can feel grindy at times, and sometimes you feel like you kind of have to be in the mood for that kind of thing. But at the same time, I feel like it also feels more rewarding, and I feel like the world that I'm exploring is a lot more interesting. So I still, after all this time, it's been several months, and Classic's been out, I don't feel like my mind has changed at all. I'm not saying I don't like to play retail, and I'm not looking forward to the next expansion, Shadowlands. I certainly am, but I still feel like Classic beats retail. I really do, in a lot of ways. So I kind of hope that I hope that says something to them. I don't know how other people feel. Maybe people aren't as interested in Classic now. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know how people feel about it. But yeah, it's after all this time, I still feel like I enjoy Classic more than retail as a package, as a leveling experience, and as someone who doesn't really play the end game. I think that maybe people that play the end game might prefer retail more. There may be people that do prefer the leveling in retail more. But I can say this. I think that having double XP is good for retail. I think it would be terrible for Classic. I'm sure there are probably a lot of people that are playing Classic that would love double XP. I don't. I think that would ruin it. I think that would ruin the experience, because I think that Classic has a much better leveling experience in general, and speeding through it would ruin it. There might be times where I'm like, God, I just want to get to the next 5 levels so I can get the heck out of this zone. So I'd probably take it. But at the same time, once I finished it, I would have nothing to do, and I'd be kind of done, right? So, a big part of Classic, again, is leveling, and I do still feel like leveling overall, while there are some things about retail that might be stronger, I feel like overall leveling in Classic is a much more rewarding experience, though it is rough around the edges. So it's just one of those things that playing this game more and seeing just how things used to be versus how they are now. Yeah, it's funny what little things I find that I do prefer in Classic. And one I never really thought about was just the aesthetics of the old world, and just how, literally, everything is ruined or destroyed, or there's a weird gaping hole in the earth, or a big flooding that took place, and part of a village is wrecked, and especially here, Aberdeen is completely gone, and it's ruins now, and so and there are these big chunks of land that you have to navigate around, and it's really annoying. So yeah, I do prefer some people might argue it's a little bit more boring because it's just plain old land and whatever, and they made it more interesting with Classic. I don't know. I can see where people would feel that way. But in general, I just prefer a more normal world, and feel it makes me feel like I'm actually part of that world. And like I said, just seeing a bunch of ruins is just, after a while, it's ugh, just ruins all over the place. Cool. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. I've been I feel like I've gotten more copper nodes than anything since we've been doing this. I've gotten 5% of a level, so I do apologize if this is slowing things down a bit. I did see someone here, and I'm not seeing any quest mobs around, which I'm supposed to be find crab chunks. Actually, I feel like I can also find them down south here. Yeah, find crab chunks. So those are all over the shore. Looks like there's a quest up here, level 20. Might be something we could do. Oh, here's a crab. Yeah, so we can fight some crabs here. And I have a quest to turn in around here somewhere, so that's something else as well. I don't feel like I need any more stones, though, so I need to quit trying to collect those. And these are level 19, so hey, there you go. Got a little bit of getting a little bit more XP here, which is nice. So we'll fight a few of these here and see what happens, and just keep going on. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Classic. If you're wondering, my verdict still is that in a lot of ways I still do prefer Classic. I don't feel like I've had rose-tinted goggles at all. I do still enjoy it quite a lot. But at the same time, I can say that as a gamer, WoW is not my center anymore. It's not the center of my gaming world anymore. And that might bother some people who watch my channel for WoW. But it's the truth. I have to be honest and open about you know, where I'm at with games. And I'm not saying that I'm going to quit playing, but you know, I am saying that I don't invest as much time into it as I used to. And so that's, you know, I think a lot of that kind of realization is, as I try to level up characters to make guides, I'm like, you know, this is going to take a long time, you know, and so I have to improvise and come up with other ideas, you know, other things that I want to do, you know, so, you know, and just you know, games I play with different friends and new games that come out that take my interest. I saw a meme the other day where it was like, there's this meme of like a girl who picks up a glass, like she's taking a drink of something, and she doesn't like it. She puts it down and she looks over at a drink of something else. And the idea is like, ooh, I'm going to try this new drink. I don't like it. I'm going to go back to the drink that I like or whatever. And it's, you know, and it was like a new game that comes out and like, you know, they don't like the drink of it. They don't like the way it tastes. So they go back to WoW, you know, and I'm like, you know, that nothing wrong with that, you know, but that used to be me. I used to be the person that like a new game would come out and I would miss out on it because I just wanted to play WoW, you know, and like I said, nothing wrong with that. If that's you, nothing wrong with that by any means. That used to be me. You know, I used to be the guy that would, you know, I remember in Wrath, I would play nothing but Wrath for hours at a time. And, you know, I missed out on a lot of games, and I don't, like, I'm at a place where I'm like, you know, I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I don't want to just play WoW all the time forever. And that's just not me anymore. You know, even like, because like even with MMOs alone, like I like to play Final Fantasy 14 too. Like that's another MMO that's out there that's really good that I want to experience, and it's very difficult to play 2 MMOs at a time. So I can honestly say that, you know, if the next expansion comes out, Shadowlands, I want to play it. I'm excited about it for sure, and I'm going to play it and see how it is. But if it's not something that, like, you know, that hooks me or whatever, I'm gonna you know, take a break from it, go play something else, and check it out every now and then. I'm not going to worry so much about, like, BFA was probably the last expansion where I was really focused on, you know, I don't like the armor and the way they did that. I don't really care anymore. I want to play it, see how it is. If it's fun, cool, I'm gonna keep playing it. If it's not, that's fine. I'll back off and do little bits here and there, level up characters, you know, play it more casually. I guess I'm just taking a more casual approach to how I play WoW, you know, which is fine. I'm okay with that, and I've been enjoying it a lot more. I enjoy BFA more that way, but I really like playing Classic, and the last thing I ever want to do is ruin it by forcing myself to just play it constantly, you know, and it is definitely making it a much more enjoyable experience. So, you know, that's, you know, I think a lot of times, like, I'll talk to people, or people have that mentality that I used to have where, oh gosh, I'm losing interest. Is this going to be the end? Am I never going to play the game again? And, like, you know, my advice for people, because, like, you know, people are passionate. Like, I'm still very passionate about my love for this game, and it's still one of my favorite games ever. I care about the story, and I don't want it to ever go anywhere. I always want it to be here for me to come back to whenever I feel like playing it. But, like, if you're someone who's like, you know, maybe you feel like, you know, I like it, but I don't want to, like, lose interest in it, so I keep playing it. I'm afraid I'm gonna, like, not want to play it anymore. Like, don't be afraid of that, man. Like, seriously, if you feel like a little burnout or whatever, like, it's cool. Take a break, you know, go play something else, go do something else, and eventually, I swear, if it doesn't happen, you won't care by then. But, like, for me, the itch always comes back. I'm like, you know, I want to play WoW for a while, and I'm happy that it's there to do that. And, you know, I still have fun making videos for it too. So, like, WoW is always around, and it's always, like, a game that I gravitate to. But it's a game that I don't feel like I have to play constantly anymore. And it's good because, like, I get to experience a lot of these other cool games, like, you know, playing Overwatch with my family, which is always fun, playing Animal Crossing, you know, playing Final Fantasy, and all these other cool games. And then WoW is still there for me to play, you know, whenever I feel like it. So, like, it's all good, man. And I recommend that people, if you're feeling that, like, if you're having fun with WoW and you don't want to play anything else, then, dude, just freaking binge the crap out of WoW and have a good time. Nothing wrong with that at all. But don't force yourself, man. Because and I say that, like, I you know, you could say that about any game, but I say that about WoW because of what, like, just the investment that goes into it, right? Like, it's such an investment, right? So sometimes you kind of feel like you have to keep going, you know. Oh crap! It says top of some key. Okay, so I gotta kill these things, I guess, to find a key. I should probably read quest text and quit blabbering on, but you guys know how I do things. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. We're gonna keep going. There's obviously tons of quests around here to do. So like I said, I am excited. I've started to get some XP now. I got like 15% of a level, which is nice. The biggest problem that I'm seeing is like I'm just having a hard time finding enemies to fight. So here we go. Got some crabs here. So there's tons of crabs we're going to fight. I'm going to start up here. We're going to work our way down through this zone. If it feels like it's starting to get really slow, then I have some ideas where I'm going to move to. I feel like I might want to like move to Red Ridge and do some quests there, but I'm going to try to get through this as much as I can. And there's always Ashenvale. I don't know much about the zone Ashenvale. So maybe that would be a place that we can go as well. There we go. We got the bottom of the key, and we need to get the top of the key by killing these other things over here. So we're going to keep on questing here. You guys let me know what you think. Should I stick around here? Should I stay in this side and in Kalimdor and work my way down through Ashenvale? Or should we eventually go back over to Eastern Kingdoms? You guys let me know in the comments below, and I will take your advice. But I just want to say so much that like I've had so much fun recently doing a lot of these Let's Plays, and I really appreciate all the support I've gotten. The WoW videos, Pokemon videos, the Zelda videos, people are watching them, and I really enjoy it. And as I continue to work on guides, I've been having a lot of fun doing, these playthroughs, and I've been getting, way more support than I ever thought I would get. So I really do appreciate that. But having said that, we are going to wrap things up here. I'm going to keep questing in this zone, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.